Welcome to the Saurabh Sagar show. Today we are diving into a deeply important and often difficult subject, overcoming alcoholism.
This is a topic which is very near to my heart because I'm an alcoholic.
It is not simply about drinking too much, it is about the underlying battles with health, relationship, and identity.
There is no shame in accepting that there is an issue, like I have an issue with alcohol, and getting help. Get some help if you have an issue. Go towards a healthy and a better life.
My co-host Sagar and guest speaker have lived this journey. They have faced the challenges of alcoholism firsthand, the toll it takes on health, relationship, and daily life.
If you're not alcoholic and you have chosen to drink alcohol, enjoy it responsibly.
In this episode, we will hear about their inspiring stories, their lows, the turning points, and the moments of courage that help them reclaim their life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Saurabh and Sagar show. We are going to talk about overcoming alcoholism. With us, we have Trevor Eastabrook. You are a sales engineer at Snowflake. Before, you had been at Vodafone New Zealand as a data engineer. You were at Westcape as a product manager, principal consultant, and been in IT for more than 15 years. Thank you, Trevor, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, and it's a super important topic, and I'm really pleased that you're making an effort to get it out there and heard.
I started consuming alcohol at the age of 16 when I was back in India. And for me, I started drinking alcohol just for fun. And I think most of the people, I believe, start like that. If my friend is drinking, I want to try it on and just go from there. But I never realized until now, like until a few years back, almost 4 years back, that I had an issue with alcohol, even from the first drink I had at the age of 16. And I could never, ever control how much I could drink. So my problem with alcohol is when I start drinking, I can't stop it. Like there are only two things that happens. One is I consume all the alcohol, which is around me. Or second, I'm flat out on the ground, can't talk, don't know what's happening. So either one of those can happen. Is that something similar to you, Trevor, when you started drinking?
Yeah, pretty similar, I guess. I think I started when I was about 12 years old, stealing my older brother's alcohol, and he'd give it to me. And I guess it was just a social thing at first. You're trying to fit in with your mates, you're all doing it. But right from an early age, very similar. I used to just, start and not stop. And once I was of a driving age, this was before there were any alcohol rules around driving and things. And so I was a terrible drink driver. And right up until sort of 5 years ago, I drove drunk my entire adult life pretty much, which I'm not proud of. I'd call myself a recidivist drunk driver. Luckily, I never got caught, and luckily I never killed anyone. And that towards the end of my drinking, that weighed heavily on my mind as I knew I had a problem, and I knew that sometime soon I was going to end up killing someone behind the wheel.
Saurabh, you are not alcoholic. I'm jealous of you that you can just drink or consume alcohol without any issues.
No, but there is a background. So I'm very fascinated to hear your story that you guys started consuming alcohol at an early age. I come from a very small town in India. So like if you look at in Australia and New Zealand, alcohol holds a very strong place in our culture, whether it's celebration or casual catch-ups or get-togethers, we drink casually, right? And then obviously there are people who drink alone. But I come from a place where drinking alcohol wasn't seen good in the society. Like culturally, it wasn't an accepted thing. And that kind of deeply rooted in my brain when I was in school, in college. And so what used to happen when I went into college, and obviously college, I used to stay in hostel, boys hostel, and a bunch of friends used to start consuming alcohol on weekends or as a party. And I used to avoid, I used to drink Coke or Pepsi. So, and then when it was the final year of college and we all were like parting ways and finishing college, and that's when I first consumed alcohol. I had a guilt in my mind, and then I started my career in IT, and I saw that it was an okay thing in society to drink casually and occasionally. So, and then gradually now my parents also see it's an okay thing. So that's the journey I have gone through. But luckily, I'm not addicted. I even have to drink alcohol. I don't enjoy it as much as other people do. When I was in 20s and 30s, I used to drink with friends and like late night. But now I I don't enjoy as much as. So I have like one or two drinks and that's it.
One or two drinks. How can you just stop a drink? I could never stop one or two drinks. My
Exactly.
my mantra was Friday night full tight. Like Friday, I have to smash myself out. That was my mantra.
So tell me, Sagar and Trevor, like, was your drinking did with the the kind of happiness or the kick you used to get while drinking? Was it more? Were you drinking alone or were you drinking in the company of your friends? Like, what was triggering that desire to drink?
I think by the end was, with friends and without, I was always drinking. Like many Kiwis, I got through COVID, all the lockdowns, and New Zealand had a lot of them. And I just drank my way through COVID. I'd start drinking about 9 o'clock in the morning and I'd probably finish at about 12 at night. And then I would start again the next day. And I just was drunk the entire time of COVID, which
But then how would you so were you working? Like
I was working. And that's the terrible thing as well.
so you were working. So it's like what is the term for that? Is it functional alcoholic or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's functional alcoholic. Yeah, I went through many years of working where almost on a daily basis lunch was at the pub, and we'd have several jugs and then go back to work, and just did that year after year, day after day. And it was just normal, and I told myself it was normal. I gaslighted my wife, right? I told her that it was essential to my career.
It's the same story I had. I would tell my wife I have to because in sales there is alcohol everywhere. And Trevor, you know that you're in sales, I'm in sales. So I would go to Qantas Lounge. There's a free alcohol. I would take Qantas flights which are after 4 p.m. in the evening on weekdays because that's when there's free alcohol. So I will take that on purpose so that I get a free alcohol. And then you end up in a hotel. So if you're traveling in a hotel, there's either a pub downstairs or there's a mini bar, so you're drinking that. So, and then I'll just tell my wife, oh, it's part and parcel of the life because you need to talk to people, and the only way to talk to people is having a social drink. It's funny how alcoholic people try to justify their need for alcoholism.
And the funny thing is, I really believed it. Like I honestly believed that, you know, I had to do it in order to fit in. I had to do it in order to progress in my career. And as soon as I stopped, I just realized that there was, I haven't actually listened to it yet, but I found an audio book called They Lied to Us. And it's about alcohol. And it's literally about, I guess, what I've been through and what you've been through, Saga, and that the alcohol industry have lied to us and told us that it's essential and told us that our jobs depend on it. And it's just not true. You hear so many people saying, they'll tell you something like all the best business decisions are made at the pub. And that's rubbish, absolute rubbish. The people that tell you that, if you ever go with them, even now I might be somewhere and they're drinking and they're talking braille. They're not making business decisions.
I loved alcohol. I really loved alcohol. I loved alcohol to a point where when I proposed my wife, I said, I have stopped smoking. I'll never smoke, but I will never give up on alcohol. You decide right now whether you want to stay with me or not. This was on the day I proposed my wife. This is how addicted and how dependent I was on alcohol. 23, when did I propose her? 25 years back. So how horrible it is, right? Telling your wife or would-be wife that I'm not going to leave alcohol. If you want to leave me, tell me right now.
Tell me one thing. When you said you were drinking a lot and you were so much dependent on alcohol, but was it affecting your day-to-day life? Was it like how was your relationship, your friendship, your day-to-day work at job? Was it still going all normal, or was any impact of your drinking too much on any of the aspects of your life?
I can't stop when I start drinking. But I don't need alcohol in the morning or I don't need to drink it for the entire day. But when I drink, I will keep drinking till I'm done, right? So it gradually starts increasing. Let's say 25 years back, 30 years back, when I first had my first drink, I would have, knocked out myself in one drink. Then gradually it became two drinks, then three drinks, then one bottle, then two bottles, then three bottles. So that's how gradually. So by the time I quit 3 years back, and this was second time when I quit, okay? The first time when I quit alcohol, I did it for 4 years. Then I came to Australia. And I said, oh, I need alcohol to be socialized, to socialize with people. It's a new country, everyone is new. So I started again, and that was a mistake. And then when you relapse, it actually makes things worse. Like your drinking capacity increases. And by the time I stopped drinking 3 years back, I was having at least like one entire bottle of scotch. I'll finish in one sitting. After that, I'll be like, I wouldn't know what's happening. I'll be gone. And the excuse I would give to my wife is, see, that's not impacting my job. Like next day, even I could do my job. So there was no impact on my job as such. And I would be proud of that. I would tell my wife, see, I'm doing, everything is good. My job is not impacted. What are you, where's the problem? I don't see a problem. Why are you seeing a problem?
I would like to hear from Trevor. Was it like similar to your experience, or did it have any impact on your aspect of life? Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I suppose it did in terms of I was aware that there were people that thought I drank too much, or people that frowned on, that I was going to the pub at lunchtime and then coming back to work, but no one that really. I mean, it sounds terrible, but I was going to say no one that really mattered. One of the interesting things that I found as well was like before I wanted to give up. I knew I was having problems with alcohol, but I was starting to have other problems in my life, and I started seeing a psychotherapist. And I actually saw the psychotherapist for about 3 years before I stopped drinking alcohol. And I was talking about stopping. The advice I was given is if you can't do it for yourself, you can't give up for anyone else, you have to give up for yourself. If you can't do it for yourself, then you're not ready to quit. And once you're ready to quit for your own self and you're not dependent on anyone else, because if you try and give up an addiction because you're trying to make someone else happy, you will fail. He goes, you need to do it for you. And it took me quite a long time to get to a point where I was prepared to do it for me. And then it's nearly 4 years now.
I found it after a long time that I have to do it for myself. Initially, I would say I'm doing it for my wife, I'm doing it for my son, but I would never say it was for me. And it took a lot of time to realize, no, I need to do it. And then I said it's for me, then now nothing matters. If someone comes and puts a bottle in front of me, I'll be saying, I'm not drinking it because I don't want to drink it. It's for me, not for my wife or my son or anyone else. It's for me.
Yeah, mostly now I think people are good. Every now and then I'll be in a situation and I'm not drinking, and someone will say, "Well, you're weird," or "What's wrong with you?" But I'm thick-skinned. One thing that I found really interesting is that my wife didn't really know she had a problem with me drinking until I stopped drinking, and then realized how much better life with me was when I wasn't drinking, and realized how much crap I was bringing to the relationship, which is pretty interesting.
So in the journey, when did you guys, like, I hear both of you went through therapies to recover, but when did you guys realize that you needed help? Like, was it like someday you realized it or your loved ones told you to do so? Like, what led to you seeing a therapist?
I was not ready to accept that I have problems. But then my wife started telling me, Sagar, you have a problem, because she wouldn't enjoy my company anymore. Whenever I would go out, I would even trips. The first thing I go to my hotel or Airbnb is open the bottle of scotch. And then I'll keep drinking till I'm done. The next day I'm hangover, so there's no interaction. Then I'll again drink the next day, again hangover, and then the whole trip I'll be just drinking. So she said there's no real connection that we are having. It's really your connection with alcohol. So she was telling me, Sagar, you have a problem. So she would keep telling me, Sagar, you have a problem. And I would keep telling her, no, I don't have a problem. What are you talking about? Yeah, that's fine. What if I get smashed out? Everyone gets smashed out in Australia. My friends get drunk. What if I don't remember what happened yesterday? That's normal. Like it's nothing wrong with me. So it took me years to listen to her, and that's when I went to my GP, and my GP said you need to talk to a psychologist. Went to a psychologist, and I found a really good psychologist. On my first session, he said, Sagar, you need to go to an AA meeting. And I said, and even then I was not ready. I would say, no, I'm not an alcoholic. Why should I go to AA? I'm not like them. They are alcoholics there in, Alcoholic Anonymous. I'm not an alcoholic. And he said, no, go and give a try.
I used to always say that. I say, I'm not an alcoholic. I drink, I fall down. No problem.
That's not all. Everyone who drinks alcohol say that. Like, that's very famous.
And then, of course, the big thing, I don't know if it was like that in Australia, but in New Zealand, it was almost like, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. And, that's a disease. I'm a binge drinker. It was sort of like alcoholism was seen as something, you're not well, you've got a problem. But if you're a binge drinker, you're just a regular Kiwi.
And that is what it was with me. And I would give the exact same explanation. I'm just binge drinking. I don't have problem with alcohol. I'm just binge drinking. I'm not dependent on alcohol. That's what I would tell everyone, including my wife. So did that excuse for a long time till I realized, okay, need to do something. Then then the funny thing was, and I don't know whether Trevor you did this, but I like Scotch, so I said maybe I should go to another type of drink. So I went to beer. I hate beer, and I went to beer. And same thing, right? Like once you start drinking, there's no control. And
Yeah, funny now, my wife tells me, you were just an asshole when you're a drinker. And I have colleagues and my wife says I'm an asshole when I drink, and I am an asshole, but they still drink. And I'm like, yeah, my wife said that too.
It sounds very simple on paper, but I'm curious to know, like, what coping strategies did you guys go through? What I have learned and seen is it's very difficult to get out of alcoholism, and not everyone is successful in the process. But I have two real examples in front of me, Sagar, you and Trevor, but curious to know what strategies you guys did.
I can start with that. First thing I did was get rid of all the alcohol. So I had a mate, he's actually one of my colleagues now, and I turned up at his house, and I basically delivered him, must have been about 30 cases of beer, and dropped them off. I got rid of all alcohol in my house and have a rule now, no alcohol in the house. And then I took myself away from situations. So, and even now it's sort of much the same though. I deliberately took myself away from situations where there was drinking. Now I'm probably not so strict, but I just naturally sort of do that anyway, because once I've been with some people enough, even once they've got past, maybe they're on to their second drink, I can already hear it in their voice. And it's a signal for me that I don't want to be there anymore. And the first 3 months are the hardest. Like the first 3 months, they always say if you can get past 3 months, you can do it. But the first 3 months are the hardest. And I know they tell you that in AA as well. Because I had a similar story to Sagar in terms of I was in mid-20s and I was a very heavy drinker. I actually had a suicide attempt while I was drunk, and I quit drinking for 13 months, went to AA 5 days a week, 13 months. And then one day I was playing golf. We got to the end of the golf game and it was a nice hot sunny day and we were sitting in the clubhouse and they were having beers. And when they got their third round or something, I said, get me one too. And they said, you don't drink? I said, I'm starting again. And then I drank for another 28 years before I quit.
you're right. It is tough at the first few months, but it can relapse anytime. So just be careful about yourself. So whenever I see alcohol, I say this is not for me. It's not me. I've accepted. I made peace with that, saying alcohol is not for me. No matter how much I love it, it's not for me. So let's not have that first drink, because the problem is
Yeah.
not the fifth drink or the 10th bottle. The problem is the first drink. And I realized that, and it took me a long time to realize that.
Yeah, and I did take the AA mantra, which was just one day at a time. So I definitely, anyone that's looking to stop, don't give yourself goals. Certainly don't give yourself a goal of 3 months or 1 year or 3 years or 4 years. Just give yourself a goal to not drink today. And then when you wake up tomorrow, give yourself the same goal. And I still do that today. Just in the back of my mind, I just say, I'm not going to drink today. And that's it. It's one day at a time. And as long as you don't get any more forward focus than that, then it's achievable.
Hang on, both of you not even touch alcohol now? No social
No,
drinking occasionally,
no,
no?
no, no, no,
Oh,
no, no alcohol in my system. I'm
that's
not touching. I'm at peace with myself that alcohol is not for me. And once you accept that, right, then it's not an issue. But it took me ages to come to this point because I loved alcohol. Look, think about a person who is proposing a girl and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to quit alcohol. If you have a problem, tell me right now." Think how bad I was and how addicted I was to alcohol that time. I tried everything. Like I said, different drink. I would eat and then go drink milk. That's another thing that they tell at A, drink milk so that you don't feel drinking alcohol. I tried everything and it all failed.
And I think having a good support system around you. So I was sort of lucky. My wife was very supportive, but I was also, and it was unexpected because I didn't do it for that. It was just a bonus. But it also, my children are also very supportive, because they remember many times when, I'd go somewhere and make a fool of myself because I was very drunk, too drunk. I was at a corporate box for a rugby game, and a rugby game's only 80 minutes long. So, it's you're there for 2 hours tops. And I was so drunk. First, we drank the amount of beer, and then I drank the amount of wine, and I had to be carried out of the corporate box.
After knowing that you guys had do not touch alcohol, I'm feeling bad because I drink occasionally now.
No, see, I don't have issues with alcohol, okay? So it's just if you can drink without having issues, drink it, right? Anything in moderation is good. And I don't tell my son, don't drink alcohol. He drinks alcohol. I said, see, if you can do it in moderation and it's not impacting you or people around you, great, no issues. But if you are like me or, someone like Trevor or any other alcoholic, then you need to do something. And
So-
I tried everything, but the only mantra is to stop drinking.
Okay. So it never came to your mind that I just have one drink on
Oh
occasions?
yeah,
I'm
100%.
sure I tried. Every time I'd have one, I'll just have one more. And then I'll have one more. And then before you know it, my wife is calling to find out where I am because it's like 10 o'clock. I'm still at the pub. I was only having one drink.
One funny thing, we are saying it is funny, but what I would do is I would say I will only have one drink. And then what I will do is I'll have one big glass and the whole big glass is full of scotch. So that's not one drink. That's like 10 drinks there itself, in that one glass. But that's how I would try to, justify that I'm only having one drink.
And when I was young, and there's groups of us, and we would go out drinking, and there's always one person who would be the driver. But when I was the driver, I would no one would know. I'd never told anyone, but I just drank vodka straight. So they always thought I was drinking water, but I was just drinking vodka.
It takes time, Saurabh, and this is where my wife wouldn't understand. Like you said, it seems very simple. You have a problem, you stop it, right? It's very simple. It seems simple, but it's not so simple. Now, let's say you have a peanut allergy, Saurabh, and I give you peanuts, and I say, hey, Saurabh, stop having the allergy. You're like, how can I stop having the allergy, right? That's how alcoholism is. We are allergic to alcohol. That's how I relate to. So the only way to not have that allergy is don't consume it.
Did it ever occur to you guys that did you ever try to find reasons for what led to you? Like, is it stress, or is it like genetic, like family history, or is it like your environment around like?
My psychologist said it's an habit. He said you're drinking alcohol for so long and it's just you made a habit of drinking it. He said break that habit. And then there are so many things of even in AA they say, get a habit which is healthy habit, whether it's reading a book, whether it's going on a walk, cycling, whatever you want, right? So whenever you think about alcohol, try to do that. And that way you're not trying to do it. That's what they told. It didn't work for me, by the way. That even I tried that. I would go for a run and I'll come home and I'll drink alcohol. So I tried that, but that's what's my story. Like it was a habit.
And I was raised as a Christian fundamentalist. So, and let's say I'm a non-believer, and I sort of made my mind up about it quite young. And so I found my family life to be very hard. There was no alcohol in our house. My parents were teetotal, but there was church 3 times on a Sunday and 3 or 4 other times during the week. It was intense. And I, yeah, as I said, I'm psychotherapy, and I still go through it. I still see my not so much now, once a fortnight, but I still undergo the counselling, and I probably will do it forever. It's just good to be able to talk to someone about what's going on in your life, what things are hard, what things are not hard, to what things you're celebrating and so on. But certainly the advice about you can't do it until you do it for yourself. And I would talk about quitting. He goes, you can't because you're not ready. And he would, and I mean, that was almost 2 years of seeing a psychotherapist and talking about quitting alcohol, talking about the crazy things I was doing, and no, you're not ready.
So if you were to give one advice to the audience on overcoming alcoholism, what advice would you give?
Get help. If it's not AA, get a psychologist, psychotherapist. And when you are getting help, just focus on one day at a time. Don't make future plans around your alcohol or lack of it. You can make future plans. Of course, you should have dreams. Just don't have dreams about being sober, because that's a one day at a time thing.
So, how do you guys celebrate big achievements today without alcohol? Like, alcohol plays a key role in celebrations. So, suppose on a day you are very happy, you have a good news, and you want to celebrate. Like,
I eat a chocolate.
I'd celebrate with food. Yeah.
My poison now is sugar, and now I'm trying to control that, and that is easier. So sugar addiction is easier, I would say, than alcohol, because I have both. Now I'm trying to get rid of that sugar addiction. But that is, if let's say I did something good, get a chocolate, get an ice cream, if you want. No matter how much ice cream you get, you're not going to be insane. With alcohol, you become insane.
yeah.
Yes, both the things are going to impact your health, but at least with one, you have your mind, you're not going insane with sugar.
I really love the idea of celebrating with food, because food is something like even I like. So, exploring and going out with family and eating, trying a new cuisine.
The thing of celebrating with alcohol there itself is a problem in our society. Why do you need alcohol to celebrate something? See, at the end of the day, alcohol is a drug. Okay, no matter what we call it, it's a drug, and it's going to impact you.
But to the audience, if you see like alcohol, every big celebration means opening a bottle. Like nowadays, even in my family, because I come from a very like conservative family, and now in my brother's wedding in India, like we opened bottle, and I was drinking with my dad and my cousins, and it was like a big, just to celebrate happiness. Alcohol was a symbol. Okay, let's everyone drink together and talk about our childhood memories. And so it is part of like every culture now, like celebrate with alcohol. If there's an office project successful, let's celebrate. So yeah, I wish we'd replace alcohol with food, as you say, sweets or whatever food or soft drinks. But yeah, that's the hard truth of the society.
Yes, that's it. I used to always say I don't drink, but I get frustrated by that because of course I drink. I'd be dead, but I just don't drink alcohol. And I think therefore you can celebrate with other beverages. It just doesn't have to be alcohol. It's something I used to do, but I still see people do it today. You hear them talking in the office or something. I had such a great night last night. I don't remember it at all. Do you know you had a great night?
That's so
This
true, because people talk a lot after drinking and they don't even remember what they said. So, yeah.
One of the things I want to talk about is you don't feel ashamed that you have an issue with alcohol. And I thought that if I would come out and tell I have an issue, then it will impact my career, it will impact my social life and everything. So I talk now. Even when I go to, let's say, events, and if there's alcohol there, and if someone offers me, and I'll say no. And even if they won't ask, I'll say no, I'm an alcoholic. I'll be open about it, saying I'm an alcoholic. It just because when I went through all these issues, my family couldn't connect with me. They couldn't even support me. Like how are you going to support when you don't know what the issue is? My friends, they wouldn't understand why I'm saying I'm alcoholic. So be open. There is no shame in it. Talk to people. There are so many people having similar issues.
Yeah, and as I said, you're not alone, and particularly today, there are more and more people not drinking for yeah, and some not everyone that decides not to drink is an alcoholic. Don't get me wrong, but many people for many different reasons are deciding not to drink, and then there's a whole new generation of people. At least that's what it's like in New Zealand. The young people don't drink alcohol. They don't seem to. I mean, there are pockets of them that do, obviously, but I talk to my colleagues and things with teenage kids and things, and they're not drinking. Certainly not drinking how I drink.
But I want to say one thing, Trevor and Sagar, you both of you should be very proud of yourself for being in this position and quitting alcohol. Like, I think it's a hard thing to conquer, but yeah, what I feel, it's great to hear your inspiring story, but I feel like you should be very proud of your achievement.
Yeah, thank you.
What helped me was that first A meeting. I went there and I saw people whose lives were ruined because of alcohol. They don't have family. Some people have gone to jail because of alcohol, and the whole thing is ruined. And I have seen people. I'm getting goosebumps. But I've seen people in AA coming there drunk and crying for help. that help me, please. I can't stay away from alcohol. And when I looked at all those things and I was like, hang on, we work so hard, right? Everyone works hard for food or whatever career you're doing, everything. Is it worth to give that hard work for alcohol? And that was a question I asked myself on that first meeting of A. And my sponsor, a really good sponsor I got in A, he would say, Sagar, see, you are at a junction where you can either be like come in our direction, like he went to jail 3 times, and he said you can come to this part of the pathway, or you can take a pathway where you can say I'm going to stop drinking, and you will have a good life. It's your decision, and I can't tell you to do that. You have to tell it to yourself. So that helps. Yeah, don't give up that life. Beauty. There's such a beautiful life, right? Don't give it up for any drug, not just alcohol, any kind of
And
drug.
alcohol is a poison as well. And the funny thing is, if it came in a black bottle with a skull and crossbones on it and said it was poison, and you give it to your mates would think you're crazy. But because it comes in a pretty bottle and tastes nice, they're quite happy to drink the poison. But your body literally doesn't like it. Your
Yeah.
body is trying to expel the alcohol from your system as soon as it enters.
And many people think that I have stress and drinking alcohol would give me a good night's sleep. In reality, the quality of sleep is very poor when you drink alcohol. So you're not sleeping, you're basically shut down. Your brain shut downs after drinking alcohol, not going to sleep, because the good quality of sleep means the repair process, and brain goes into different phases of sleep, deep sleep and the REM sleep. When you drink alcohol, it destroys the quality of sleep.
Did you find, Saga, that you'd wake up in the morning and you're sweating alcohol? Just going to work and you're on the bus or something and you just reek of alcohol, and you're very conscious that people must be able to smell it.
Sweat, your breath, so many things that you're conscious about when you're drinking alcohol. We have a hotline. I use that. So in Australia, and I'm not sure what New Zealand. In Australia, there's also web chat, so you don't have to call them. So I did a web chat when I first realized I had an issue. But the alcohol and drug hotline for Australia, the number is 1-800-250-015, and for New Zealand is 0800 787-797. So anyone, and you don't need to be an alcoholic or a drug addict. Even if you know someone who has an issue, you can reach out to that helpline. So if you know anyone or if you have an issue, reach out that helpline and take help.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you for your time and being so open and honest, having a conversation around your struggle and what you're doing with alcoholism. So thank you again.
Yeah, and thank you for having me on the show, and very nice to meet you, Sarah.